This episode of The Ian Gleason Show contains language that may not be appropriate for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. On this episode of The Ian Gleason Show, we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to do a round table. There's only a few of us here, so we're going to give everybody a period of time to bring up their own subject and talk about whatever it is they want to talk about. I know what I got covered, so we're going to talk to my mans Jose and Cuddy, who are here today. And we'll just bring up whatever and see if we can't answer all of life's problems. We'll talk about that more on this episode of The Ian Gleason Show.
You're listening to The Ian Gleason Show. All episodes are available on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, or anywhere quality podcasts can be found. To help support us, please leave a review on your platform of choice. To contact the show or keep up with the cast and crew, they can be found on social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search The Ian Gleason Show. Emails can be sent to theiangleasonshow@gmail.com. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. Heard in 100 countries around the globe in all 50 states. This is the Ian Gleason Show. This episode is brought to you by Patreon. You can find them at patreon.com/The Ian Gleason Show. Patreon helps us keep this episode free and all episodes free. It helps us travel to see other sites and go visit your town. More specifically, pays for the equipment that if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see in front of you, which it might not look expensive, but trust me, it is. So help us out. Help us keep these episodes free. It's Patreon, patreon.com/The Ian Gleason Show for as little as $1 a month. So here we are today. We want to jump right into it. It is myself and Jose and Cuddy. How are you, Jose?
I am doing fabulous.
It's been a while since I've seen you, so you've had some life changes, I understand.
Yeah.
For the better?
Well, yeah. I got that sex change thing figured out, and so... That's not that.
It's weird because you look and sound exactly the same. I wouldn't have thought.
I wouldn't, my body's fighting the hormones.
Is that what it is? And Cuddy is here today with Little Chubby. What's going on, Cuddy, man? How are you?
Man, I'm good, man. You know, trying to stay balanced.
There you go. It's been a minute since I've seen you, too. How are things in your world?
Yeah. I was saying that the other day. I was like, it's been a minute since all of us seen each other.
You know what's funny is, Jose's got a different gig. I've got my own.
I'm working 11 to 7 now.
It's kind of weird now. I was like, I've been trying to get my loaded up all week. Mm-hmm. But I keep forgetting that he's 11 to 7, not 2 in the morning till whatever time he got
right,
out.
Right.
Yeah, 9 o'clock. That's
for a while, I thought he was Tommy Al Martin. I'm like, he don't have a job.
No, it's weird, and I haven't been going to the watering hole as often for a multitude of reasons. It's certainly helping my bank account, which I need at the moment.
I'm pretty sure we all been falling. Like I go in there and I'm making like a pit stop. Like I'm like, one round and I'm about to go home.
Yeah, I don't see any. Even when I do the same, I'll go up there for a little bit, and I don't see the same people up there anymore.
I play it at nighttime though. I'm more than I like the fact now that I'm a bachelor. Sometimes I like to go out and swim in the ocean and see what's out there. See if there are any sharks biting.
Right.
See if there's any jellyfish.
I've done the same a little bit, going up there on the weekend in the evening, seeing what's going on. And it does get crowded at night, so it can be fun.
Good. At the same time, it kind of gets. It gets old because, when you fresh out of a relationship, you're either going to do two things. Either weep and whine about it, be salty, or you're going to get out there in the streets or do whatever you got to do and throw that pep cat back on, that Mac Daddy vibe.
Yeah, absolutely.
And either way it go, time heals everything. Mm-hmm. And whether you're playing or whining, time going to deal with that. So I deal with it differently. I go out and play, and I met a lot of chicks and, had a lot of fun and all that type of stuff like that. But it gets old, and you get back to a point where you got to be back focused again.
Sure, yeah.
Focus on the focus.
You know what? We talk about this on the big show. It's a little game that we play called He Who Cares the Least Wins. Ooh. If you sitting there crying and whining about it all day, bitch is winning. You're not winning. You're sitting there. You're not. There's no forward momentum.
It doesn't look good on you.
Exactly. What you got to do is get out there.
Yeah, that's a bad wig you're wearing.
Yeah, even if you do care, you act like you don't care. Yeah, exactly. You just act like you don't care, and eventually you won't care anymore. Exactly. You're in good shape.
Fake it till you make it on that part.
Exactly.
You want to fake it till you make it. Do it when that happens.
Exactly. So What we're going to do today is with the three of us, we're just going to go around and just throw out a topic here and there, and everybody's going to have equal time to get their topics out, whatever they want to talk about. I like what Cuddy hit on, so I might change my topic to something more personal. There is some political stuff that I want to talk about, and I know this is not that kind of podcast, and we try hard not to bring it up that often.
Once in a while
you gotta address it every once in a while. Stuff has gotten crazy. It basically is now. It is the ultimate reality show is what this has turned into. You know. Yeah. But I want to go to Jose first and see if there's anything going on in his world that he wants to talk about, or anything that comes to mind that you wanted to cover specifically. Anything that's grinding your gears, or anything you're really excited about, either in the world or your life or whatever.
No, I really don't. You know what? I just feast on everybody else's stuff. I mean, it's like, I keep my stuff close, under control. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot of drama or anything that's going on. So
I like that.
I will say that tip my hat. He's very good on staying out the way and not having it, or not even just having something to be spoken about.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Real low key, and it ain't nothing to be spoken about anyway. So
yeah,
pretty much that's what it is.
Yeah. And what difference does it make if it is? It's none of your damn business. You know what I mean?
That's kind of what I say.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if he's got some stuff going on, I know he'll tell me if he needs me to know about it, but he'll tell me because he needs me to know about it for some reason. Otherwise, you don't need to know. Don't worry about it.
People want your information, man, just so they can hold it against you later on.
Yeah.
People love to listen to you vent to them.
Yeah.
I'm not like they care and whatever, but they don't really be caring.
Yeah,
man.
no, they don't. All they want to do is just keep that on there so they can go, oh, you know what, I'm going to sit there and talk to them about it.
You just gave them some information that they shouldn't know.
Yep.
To the wrong person.
That's why I don't.
Turn that information around to something else. And you gonna when it get back to you, it's going to sound like something else.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm living that life right now. And I don't want any part of it. I mean, it's like, more people know more about my relationship than I do, apparently.
You know what?
And I'm like, okay, good on you. I ain't going to tell you the truth because it's none of your damn business. You think whatever the hell you want to think.
And evidently, you already know what's going on anyway, because that's why you asking me about it.
Exactly.
And I feel you on that. When it comes to relationships, people will ask you about stuff that's going on in your household or your situation. They already know. They just want you to tell it to them, too.
Yeah.
Or tell your story.
You know what?
Or whatever.
I shut them off. I shut them off like a truck.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
But they would not talk about their drama.
Right.
Like I was saying, you know, me, I just went through a breakup 4 or 5 months ago, whatever, you know, with Ryder's mom, and I handled it pretty well. I handled it pretty well.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And we real cool. We kick it. You know, we hang out. We laugh and joke with each other now. But I went out and played the field like, you know, what I normally do. Before I met her, I was doing that. So
right.
I went back to what I'm good at, you know. And but
ain't nothing
like
wrong
I was
with that.
saying earlier, it gets old, and you got to get back to being focused again on what you was focused on. And when you do that, you sit back and you start realizing, damn, this ain't getting taken care of, because I realize I'm now realizing it now because I got a clear vision, because earlier I was playing too much. I was out there fly fishing, you know, trying to get girls home or whatever like that, and having fun and just being, you know, doing what I had to do, you know.
You know what? There's nothing.
Look,
there's nothing says that you can't get your wit wrecked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
at the same time, you can't be. That can't be your whole game. It's
yeah,
like,
that's why I had to fall back. You know, I said like,
you got to still take care of business.
And like I told some chick, you know, because we was going at it with each other for like a year, we on the low for like a year, and I'm gonna throw it out there because it's what it is. And
you throwing it out there because you want to throw it out there. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah, it's not like we're asking, but that's the point. We're not asking, you're telling.
Yeah. Who I am.
My
anyway.
bad, sorry.
But like,
I didn't realize how close that leg was.
We had a little discussion with each other about, you know, what's the next move or whatever, or we gonna hang out or go do this or that. And she had a good reason to fall back or whatever. I said, okay, cool. I said, I'm going to fall back. And I said, she said, you don't got to do that. I said, I'm going to make you feel like it's October. So my fall back game is so cold, you're going to think it's October. You're going to see some orange and green leaves and shit falling off the tree. But that's how I go, man. And I handled it pretty well. But
Find out you're in the wrong time zone.
I got to get back.
Yeah, right. No kidding. You're falling back to 1954.
I think I've been doing a well job on everything I say I want to do or going to do. I end up doing it, or I am doing it. And I want to keep that thing going, because you can keep on talking and ain't nothing showing, and people going to be looking at you like,
what's up with that?
Yeah.
So as long as you doing what you say you're doing, or say what you're doing, or whatever, however it go, that's good. I hate when people say they're gonna do something or want to do something, and they don't do it. So
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to get back to that, man. And I feel like I kind of got like a little, loose on what I should be doing for what I got going on.
Right.
What I want to
Kind of lost track of what you were supposed to be doing.
Yeah. At the same time, I miss you guys. What's happening?
Well, it's, since you brought, I'm not going to go into detail about my situation. Mine is a lot more complex.
Hope I ain't give y'all too much detail.
No, you give out whatever you want to give out.
Save it for the Cuttercation Podcast. For the kickback.
You know what, man? Ain't no saving my game, man. It's what they want to hear.
But this is what I like about this show, too, is that we've got listeners from all walks of life, all different parts of the country and around the world. And what's funny is, in the circumstances that the three of us are in right now, everybody is living some form of that. They're either single, they're out there trying to make it work, they're in a good relationship that's working and they're trying to keep that going, or they're like in my position where you're kind of in the middle. You don't have a clear, defined path to follow, and, stuff gets weird and all of this. So it's a universal deal. You're either with somebody and it's great, you're with somebody and it's falling apart, or you're not with somebody.
You're trying to get with somebody.
Yeah, there's really no other. I can't think of a fourth option. Or maybe you're just you're asexual and you don't want to be with somebody. Maybe that's different.
I will say though, I'm in a great place right now, man. This shows, the spirit shows from like people on the outside looking in. Like people be around me like, you just got to glow. You feel good all the time. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, though, y'all know it. This time I get around people. When I'm around good people, I be in that good spirit like that. But it's a thin line between somebody coming next to me trying to bump my shoulder and push that button, too, though. It's a thin line between me clicking, going to 100 real quick.
But that can happen with anybody, though. They could just be you standing in that line at Subway and somebody.
Joke about something. We could be cracking our ass out about something.
Right.
And dying laughing, and somebody come by me and say something foul, and my switcher click on. Mm-hmm. Depending on what it is they said.
Right.
And who said it.
And how they said it.
But sometimes I know people like to, I like using this term, they like to throw that grenade up under the table and walk off on you. Mm-hmm. They do it like
I said, pull the pin. I know that guy.
You got to break this. It's like, I call it pull the pin. I like that dude. His name is Pull the Pin.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is.
His name Porter. What's his first name? Porter. Last name Pin. You get the Chris Pin, the John Pin, and Sean Pin.
You know what I've been thinking about doing lately with the podcast is taking a phrase or a word that somebody throws out there and naming the episode after that. This episode should be called Pull the Pin.
Pull the Pin.
Pull the Pin.
Pull the Pin. So, all right, so everything is great in Jose's world. He doesn't have anything in particular that he wants to bring up. What about you, Cuddy? Is there anything that's going on in the world that bugs you or that makes you happy, or outside of your relationship status, which we just covered?
Well, I covered that part right there. But like I was saying, after that, I am in a good place right now, man. The podcast is jumping out better, man. We now do it. We video it now. Mm-hmm.
By the way, at the end of every episode from now on, we will plug everybody's podcast. But why don't you go ahead and do it now, and then we'll do Jose's as well. Give Cuttercation
I'm just going to give you a little. Well, I'm just throwing it out for a little. I'm not going to give you the. I mean, I said it 1,000 times on here, so I have to really just give it to him right now. But I just want that. I just been working on trying to get merchandise stuff, hats and shirts and little marketing website stuff that really just make your stuff look professional like it's supposed to be. Because when it looks good, it makes people want to be attentive to it.
Right.
If it look bootleg and bougie like it's the dude at the car wash or the corner store selling the bootleg DVD,
right?
People gonna be maybe not. So long as it look good, man. Like you can have $0 in your pocket, man, but you got some fresh shoes on with a hat and a white T-shirt, some jeans. You look clean as hell.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a hood. That's a fresh hood nigga. Straight up for real though.
We made it. We made it to our disclaimer.
I ain't even put the G on. I said.
Well, still, we're gonna put this on radio. That would be a word I'd have to beep out.
Yeah.
That's a dump.
The dump button.
I just got dumped.
But in the wintertime, back, it was funny though. This was our wintertime outfit, and this one thing about being a guy, you can wear the same pair of Levi's all year during the winter, right?
Oh yeah.
And throw that starter jacket on, the bomber jacket.
Oh yeah.
With some fresh kicks in the hat, and wear a white T-shirt.
Man,
you're
in.
you're good. You never tell you in the classroom with your jacket on. Nobody know.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you what, and you'll understand this. I think maybe people in other places
the homies
might
back
not.
on. He's like, he ain't lying.
Listen to this. When I was a kid, we used to go to. We go to Burlington Coat Factory because that was a cheap ass place, right?
Yeah, it was.
The first,
I
see this shirt right here. This hat.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Ryder's clothes come from Burlington Coat Factory.
Hell yeah, I mean, my shit comes from Goodwill. I'm not gonna lie, or Walmart, but you're at a higher level than I'm at.
Burlington is his name brand.
It is, and this is when I was a kid. The first article of clothing that I ever bought, and I was probably 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. I went down to Burlington Coat Factory, and there was like this acid wash looking blue jacket with a Yankees emblem on it, and it was a starter jacket, and that was the first piece of starter gear that I owned when I was a kid. So I kept going back to Burlington because that's where you could find some stuff that they market it world or at least nationwide.
It's exclusive because you go to Burlington and buy a shirt. You don't have to worry about seeing somebody else in that shirt.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. They got a billion.
TJ Maxx, all that.
Yeah.
You know? And back to what you were saying. We the same age.
Hold on.
I know what you're talking about.
It's going to get better because, you afford what you can afford. The stuff there is affordable, but it is name brand stuff. I went through most of middle school wearing FUBU gear, not knowing what it meant. People are looking at me, and because it's a national chain, they just send whatever wherever. Now, bear in mind, we're in the whitest state in the country. For those of you who don't know, FUBU is for us, by us, and it was created. Was it Diddy that created it?
It was what's the guy?
I couldn't tell you.
It was some black guy. I forgot who they were, but it was four.
Somebody
black
has
guys.
something. Yeah, somebody with in the rap game. Maybe Russell Simmons, maybe or something like somebody like that. Yeah,
he's fat form though, but yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm going around wearing FUBU stuff. I'm wearing
a white dude in the whitest time.
Oh yeah, Timberlands when they weren't Timberlands then.
Back then though.
Yeah.
The 05 FUBU shirts, the jerseys and stuff.
Exactly.
It was just the style though. People like to wear stuff like that. So
right, exactly. And nobody really gave me crap about it because I don't think anybody knew. It wasn't until later on I was like, man, I was wearing some pretty legit stuff. Like if I was in a big city somewhere, I would have been legit.
Yeah,
Here it was just like they had no clue what I was wearing.
They didn't know.
I'm just wearing the stuff I could afford.
See, back then, even though I went to Burlington or TJ Maxx, I still went to Dillard's and buy my polos or Nauticas or whatever I was wearing or rocking Chabots. There was a place called Chess King. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember those.
Or the Buckle. We used to, J-Dub. With Gene West. That's what it stood for, Gene West. We used to buy all our clothes from there because we'll see something on TV or a sitcom like Martin or...
What was the other one? Like
Different
Journey
World.
or something like that?
Steinmark.
Steinmark is one right here on
There's one right, yeah.
See, these are all places that are down. We didn't have any of this stuff up where I grew up. I know Chess King, but I'd never been there.
Chess King is from most of these places are northeastern places though. Like the style of dressing is like northeast style.
Chess King, I know.
Chess King is more like I guess it is.
We didn't have a lot of those big stores either when I was growing up. We didn't have a lot of chain stuff. Like we had the anchor store of our mall at the time was Jordan Marsh, which you probably never heard of. I mean, it was a big ass store, so they obviously had a thing going.
Dillard's or something like that, or Macy's.
Yeah, so Macy's is actually the one who took it over. We had a Penny's in the mall. We had a Sears in the mall. Our anchor stores were we had Jordan Marsh, which then became Macy's. We had Filene's. We had J.C. Penney and Sears. Were the big stores in the mall.
What grocery stores did y'all have?
Oh, you wouldn't even know. We had. Used to be called Shop and Save. Now it's called Hannaford's. And they're getting big in the Northeast, but they haven't gotten down here.
Shop and Save.
And the one that I used to go to and actually worked at out of high school was Shaw's grocery store.
I heard of it.
And we only had those two. You have Shaw's and Hannaford's, which used to, when I was a kid, was Shop and Save. Shaw's and Shop and Save. That's it. Now I haven't been home lately, but my mom's telling me, do you know... Have you ever been to this place called Whole Foods? They have so many things in Whole Foods.
That's when you're on the good side of the city.
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever you see a Whole Foods,
she's just driving through.
You'll never see a Whole Foods by the project.
No, you don't. No.
They can't afford it.
No. Well, that's good marketing. I mean, that's, they plan their system out well.
They're
expensive as hell.
Back home, we had in Shreveport, we had
Piggly Wiggly?
Piggly Wiggly.
Uh-huh.
But now you got like County Market, Low Mark. What that is? It's County Market, Low Mark. We got Brookshires. Back home, they don't say Brookshires. They say Brookshires.
Brookshires.
That's what they.
That's some country ass shit.
Yeah.
They say Brookshires.
Yeah,
They don't say Brookshires. We got Kroger. We got Walmart. We got remember K&B?
Nope.
Eckert's.
I
I
know
know Eckert's, but I only know it as
they're
a
all gone
drugstore.
Yeah, that was what Eckert's drugstore.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Rite Aid now. I mean,
They're all gone now.
It's the thing about Shreveport. Shreveport, the way you go to Shreveport, you would see a company from there in each region probably.
Yeah.
If it's in Seattle, L.A., Chicago, Montana, Florida.
Don't try it down in
Shreveport has-
Shreveport.
It's a good middle ground.
Like we have a Wet Willie's. Miami Wet Willie's come from Miami.
What the hell is Wet
That's a daiquiri.
Willie's?
That's Wet Willie's on South Beach. It's a daiquiri place.
Oh, okay.
Call the cab daiquiris. It's like they got Everclear in them.
Okay.
We have a Wet Willie's, and it's downtown on the boardwalk. See, we have a
Wow.
lot of stuff. There's a lot of like I think Shreveport takes stuff from each city, major market, and they bring it to the city and they just put it all up in that little spot.
Well, but that makes sense too, because what would you say is the number one industry in Shreveport?
It's entertainment.
Casinos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's
so
entertainment. Clearly.
if you want to draw in people from somewhere else and you want to keep them there for a while after they lost $500, man, I miss me some Piggly Wiggly sandwich, because right now that's all about what I got.
They don't even have Piggly Wiggly no more. That was back in the 80s.
They still got
last one-
Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah, the last
I
one
saw
has-
one in Florida.
Somebody in
Really?
Shreveport.
Oh,
Y'all
okay.
have to- like back then, like we used to have 7-Elevens back then in Shreveport. We changed 7-Eleven to Circle K. All the 7-Elevens back in the 80s, it was 7-Eleven.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you go to Shreveport, whatever was a 7-Eleven is
a Circle K now.
It's called Circle K.
Yeah, yeah. You know what's funny is we have a bunch of Circle K's in Maine where I grew up.
Yeah.
But they used to be Irving.
Okay.
And the Irving stations, this is what's funny about Maine, because it's kind of like, I mean, it's right there in all of New England. I mean, you can get to Boston in an hour from where I live, but it's its own thing, and it's kind of this hybrid between Alaska and Canada.
I keep on thinking every time when I think of Portland, man, I keep on thinking I see a lot of lighthouses.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Well, yeah,
That's how I look up there.
Oh yeah,
lighthouse.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's two lighthouses in my hometown. There's the most famous one in America is about 3 miles away from where I grew up, and then right outside of there, same town, it's called Cape Elizabeth. There's a park called Two Lights Park, and there's these two huge lighthouses, and they're I don't know exactly how far, less than a half a mile. I mean, probably even way closer than that. And the reason why they're so close is because they could only point in one direction at a time. So if you're trying to bring people in one way, you see this one. If you're coming in the other way, you see this one, but it wouldn't cover both, because one stuck out a little bit further. So
There you go.
I mean, they're lighthouses. You're not wrong, basically, is what I'm saying.
That's the
But all the other stuff is like Irving Oil Company, where there are a lot of Irving gas stations up there, is Canadian owned. It's a Canadian oil company. So we have a lot of Irvings, whereas down here you'd have like more Shell or Exxon,
Or Chevron.
Chevron. Yeah, we don't have a lot of those.
We have
up there.
Chevron, Racetrack, and Exxon, and Texaco
Yeah.
back home.
Yeah.
And Afina.
We
Afina be in the hood, though.
see. I never even
Yeah,
heard of it.
Afina
Afina, that
was-
one, there's that one gas that you pull by, like, they never paint the building, they never...
No, dude, they
you
had
walk up
paints
in there,
all,
it
you know,
smell like
dry,
piss.
chip
It
and
smell
all.
like piss when you walk up to the counter.
There's
Check
like
out.
3 stray cats
Talking about-
running around in there.
Like, that's about straight up.
Yeah,
Dogs
Afina-
hanging
yeah,
out
Afina's
the
a-
front, somebody smoking a cigarette, dice game going on right
You
there.
go in for your swishers and boot. You're like,
Like,
I'm
straight
out this
Yeah.
bitch.
And you got Habib behind the counter.
They got those pickled
Piggy
pig
back-
feet on
yeah,
the
right.
counter. The
See,
jar.
and we used to have, now down here, 7-Eleven's obviously big. We only had 1 or 2 7-Elevens that I can remember growing up. And this is a big enough place that we should have had a lot more than we did. But we had places like...
Hell,
like
I got 3 in like a
Yeah,
mile.
we all
Oh, yeah.
got 3. We got 3 7-Elevens right by each other.
Yeah, I
That's
could,
right
I
there.
could throw a baseball in 2 different directions and hit
Yeah,
2
I know you
7-Elevens.
confused. You be like, which 7-Eleven should I walk to?
Yeah, exactly.
Right there by both of them. Like,
Yeah. When I'm coming up to see Jose, I hit one. When I'm going to work in the morning, I hit the other one,
Yeah.
because those are the
They're
directions
a block
that I'm
away.
going.
And I'm like, who does that?
Yeah.
And see, all 4 of these 7-Elevens and the 3 7-Elevens and the Chevron, I've been going to all 4 of those spots for the last 8 years. Mm-hmm. And the same people work up in there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, it's crazy though, because it's like, they say, oh man, I remember your daughter when she was a baby. And I'm like, damn, I've been coming here that long.
Yeah, I know a bunch of these guys by name, which is, I mean, it's more of an indictment on me, but.
Gutty.
So, but
right.
see, we didn't 7-Eleven at that point. I would assume we have more of them up there now, but at 7-Eleven at that point hadn't pushed that far northeast. I mean, there were a couple, but our big deal was Cumberland Farms, which is essentially the same thing as 7-Eleven. Some of them have gas pumps, and some of them don't.
I haven't seen one of those in a long time.
Yeah, see, they still have them up there, at least as far as I know. And the Big Apple. We have Big Apple gas stations. That's where you would get your Texaco from.
You know what, man? It's funny though. If you watch movies in New York, you never see a gas station.
Sure don't. No, nobody stops for gas in New York.
Like they never show
They just
you a
don't.
gas. You know, this Big Stan. Shout out to Big Stan.
Yeah.
Stan say, man, when you were living up there, man, how the hell you got gas? I said, man, what you talking about? He said, I ain't never seen a gas station, man, on New Jack City or any of those Superman movies.
No.
He said, they never show gas stations in New York.
See,
in other movies they do, though, but he had a point, though.
They're there. As a guy who drove a moving van for a living for a couple of years.
Under the bridge, though. They be under the bridges. Like
some of them are in places that you wouldn't expect. Like there's one on the Lower East Side that always has a line.
Yeah.
There's one in Hell's Kitchen that it's big enough. That's where most of the cabs go because they got probably, I don't know, 15, 16 pumps at this one, which is a lot for New York.
That's a big footprint.
But they got to get those people in and out of there, and they're making good money because they know there aren't a lot of gas stations around. But I could tell you where every gas station in New York City is because there aren't that many.
So many people driving.
Yeah. Most of the people who are driving, they live in the outskirts. They don't live in the actual city for the most part. Yeah. So
if you live in the city, you're doing the public transit because it's just too easy.
Newark, New Jersey. What's up?
I like me some Newark. It's not the funnest place I've ever been.
No.
We've had good times there.
Avon Boulevard.
It's because you are leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
I tell people the same thing. You know what? Every town I've ever flown into, I've had a good time. You know why? Because I had a ticket to leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Newark, I fly in, I fly out.
I
Boom.
can't stand that airport. It's just
it's a beating.
Which one?
Newark Airport.
Newark Liberty.
Oh, you talking about New Jersey?
Yeah.
Newark. Yeah,
it's just so
it's
beat up.
It's just an armpit.
Inconvenient. And,
well, you are in Brick City, man.
It is.
Newark, they call it Brick City.
Brick City.
They got the poorest city in the country, Camden, the state itself. So
oh yeah.
It's a pretty state, but just.
Yeah, the funny thing is, New Jersey has a terrible reputation, but a lot of it is because of what people see on television and films. It's
because they always show them just the bad section,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right there by the Delaware.
Yeah, exactly. New Jersey, by and large, is actually a beautiful state, but
Atlantic City ain't like it used to be.
No, it isn't.
Atlantic City is a mess. I mean, even when I was going there as a teenager, it was just. It's all these pretty buildings surrounded by hood.
Yeah.
And the city, I mean, it was one of the most corrupt cities I've ever been to. The city was, the city government is taking the money from the casinos and they're stuffing their own pockets with it. They're not working on, first drug deal I ever saw in my entire life. I kid you not. I just told this story the other day and I'll never forget it. I was 16 years old. I went down to Atlantic City with my stepfather's family, my mother. My brother stayed home, but my stepfather's nieces and nephews went, and I was old enough to be there to babysit. So the deal was they were going to go out at night and do whatever they were going to do, and I'm going to watch the kids, and then in the afternoons they'll let me go wander around on my own. I'm like, 15, 16 years old, so it's not that big a deal as long as I stick to the boardwalk. We're on probably the 23rd floor of this hotel that's facing in towards Atlantic City, not out at the ocean. But for those of you who don't know geographically Atlantic City, all of the casinos and hotels are on the water. And you're either facing the water or you're facing the marshland on the other end. That's pretty much what you got.
That's how it is in Shreveport. All the casinos on the water.
Exactly.
Except for Margaritaville, it's the only one that's on land.
Mm-hmm. So we're
He just
got hired 2 weeks ago.
Oh, did he? All right.
So we got to take a trip to Shreveport.
Hell yeah.
And Takeover want us to be on their show, y'all. I don't know why we ain't been to Shreveport.
Dude, I got a buddy that's got.
Man.
I mean, you've got family. You got a place to crash. I got a friend. I got a place to crash.
I I got a homeboy that got rooms like for the Horseshoe and like Sam's Town and all that. Like got the give you a nice little room for the low. Give you a little high rise, $40 for a night. At the same time though, like I was saying, we off on Saturdays. We ain't doing nothing. We should ride out early in the morning, that Saturday morning, and meet up with them and do it. We can sit somewhere out there or do the podcast somewhere.
Yeah,
sure.
In Shreveport, or just have a day in Shreveport and do something.
I'm sure there's a buyer in Shreveport. They'll let us in.
There's a lot of them. And like,
they'll let us in.
it's only a 2.5 hour drive. We get there around 11. Do the podcast at 1 like we normally do, and
Get our drink on and then,
then we
do
leave.
the podcast.
We leave at 7 o'clock and we'll still be home by 10 at night.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't.
I think we need to do that.
No,
soon.
no. What you do is you stay up all night drinking and then crash for a few hours. Yeah, Sunday morning. Sunday morning
Then,
you roll out.
Then at 2:30 Sunday morning you cut another podcast because that would be hilarious.
Stan has a 3-bedroom house. We'll do the podcast at Stan's house probably. Who knows?
I say we do a podcast at 1 p.m. and then 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And by the way,
see how that goes.
Yeah, for those of you who are our Patreon subscribers, we still are trying to figure this out. Every step that I make in order to figure out how to get you bonus content, they kick me back with something else that I can't figure out. So I promise you, we have stockpiled bonus content for Patreon subscribers. And by the way, I know who you are. Have your email addresses. Shout out to the people who signed up. We just had another chick sign up this week. I don't have her name in front of me because my laptop is at the office, but I appreciate you, sweetheart, and everybody else who's on there. That would be a podcast that would be pure Patreon bonus content if we did a 12 hours later in Shreveport podcast. That would be awesome.
Yeah. After a 10-hour bender. That
and all that's going through your head is ding, 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 ding.
But at the same time, though, man, like people who I'm close to and stuff like that, people who I love, I always wanted to take them back to where I'm from. Mm-hmm. Like y'all, like even the girls I dated who don't know about Shreveport, they know about it, Ratchet City, and where all that come from. I like people to know where I come from. Because they be like, okay, I see why you the way you are, and I see what it is because Shreveport ain't nothing but a big ass, a lot of neighborhoods, hoods.
Mm-hmm.
All the suburban neighborhoods on the outside, but it's a bunch of hoods connected to each other. And street, and like my neighborhood, the side I'm from, we the only neighborhood that's not connected to another neighborhood. Like we north side of downtown, north side of the city. We our own island, and everything else is like south or west or east of downtown. It's connected to each other. All the neighborhoods. Like you'll be in one neighborhood, Hollywood. It's probably about like 32 blocks, and then you cross the main intersection, and you're in another neighborhood, Cedar Grove. Over here, Waterside, or over here, Ingleside. But see, my neighborhood, I'm
kind of like neighborhood, like
New
York.
We're away from everybody. Like we north of downtown. We right there by the casinos. Like I can walk to Sam's Town from my mom's house.
No kidding.
I'm like I can walk to the casinos where I'm from. But I like
that makes it convenient to go lose your money.
No kidding.
I want y'all to know this. You can go have fun in the city that stay out open all night, 2.5 hours away from where you at. Dallas shuts down at 2 o'clock.
Man, that's closer than the casinos in Oklahoma.
Well, no,
isn't
Oklahoma, it? No, Oklahoma closer. But think about Shreveport, Bossier City casinos. The city never sleeps. It's more lot to do in Shreveport. It's two cities in the pot together.
Yeah.
Because you can be over here on this side of the water, you're in Shreveport, on this side you're in Bossier.
Right.
But people from Bossier City, when they go out of town, they say they're from Shreveport.
Right.
Instead of just saying Bossier City.
So yeah.
They might don't do that now, but they do. Hey, much love for you.
Right.
But I want you to just enjoy the fact. See, at our casinos, you can be at a slot machine, paying $5 worth of slot. It's gonna be a cocktail server walk by and ask you what you want to drink, free.
Yeah.
I'm scared to take Rico Bobby there.
Oh, dude, yeah.
He won't last 5 minutes in a casino because there's too many free drinks.
Yeah, the king of Dover is the pauper of Shreveport.
Yeah.
Like they don't. Like you just tip. You give a cocktail server $20 or a $20 tip.
And say, keep coming around.
She gonna make you. You gonna tell her to stop. You know how I go. You gonna say, baby, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Cause them cocktail girls, I don't know how much they make, but I know how much I give them when I used to go. I'm a blackjack guy. I used to be on blackjack, and
I had to quit table games. I
man,
lost more money on table games.
Blackjack is so
Blackjack
fun,
was my
man.
game too.
But I know we got to go to Shreveport, man. That's the
I can't.
story,
I can't
man.
go into a casino, dude. It's. I'm like Rain Man. I try to analyze everything.
I have a hard
My
time
cousin
with it.
Stan's a bartender at Margaritaville, which that'll be bad luck for you too.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Basically, Shreveport is a bad idea for
It's
both of
not.
us.
It's a bad idea.
But we're going. I'm going anyway.
We got to go, man.
All right, I'll tell you what. Here's what we're going to
gotta
do.
go.
We're going to find out who's... you're a Cowboys fan. You're a Raiders fan. I'm a Patriots
What'd you say,
fan.
man? You said curse me out, man. Hey, y'all. Hey.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dude.
It's the blue. The blue throws me off. 49ers
I like
fan.
I like the Mavericks in my second team. 49ers fan. Shout out to
Dude,
San
what's in
Francisco.
that cup?
All
of
right, so
yours?
here's what
You're a
He got
Minnesota
that-
Vikings fan. You're
you
a
know-
purple people eater.
Yeah, dude. He got.
Purple beer.
Yeah,
You know
look
what,
at
I
it.
tell you-
He's got that purple
There's only
blank
one
on.
team I would punch you over. You can call me a Vikings fan all you want. So here's the deal. We're going to find out between the 49ers, the Patriots, and the Raiders.
He just cut me out.
Because you're always wearing blue and you live in Dallas. You confuse the hell out of me. I'm trying to follow along, but...
Fucking Mavericks hat on. I'm like, dude, come on. It could
Well,
have been done. You could have been that.
yeah, right? Exactly.
They're gonna throw you under the bus quick, man. He was fast moving too.
Hey, you know what? People know I like the Mavericks, but they know I rock with them 76.
Yeah, you do.
That's true. Yeah, you do.
That's true.
You do. So here's what we're going to do. Whoever has the latest bye week in the NFL, we have to have been to Shreveport before that latest bye week.
I haven't checked my schedule, so I think we're I think we're middle of the year.
I think mine's late
San Francisco
October.
have a bye week every week.
Yeah, they do. Well, there is that.
Well, the last 2 years they have
I wasn't going to say it.
since Jim Harbaugh left. But
They
shout
ran.
out to
Yeah,
Jim
they ran
Harbaugh.
him off.
Shanahan,
Yeah, they
man,
did.
they make this thing. I love your Shanahan, little Shanahan, Kyle.
So, well, there's a walk down nostalgia lane, and now we officially have a plan that has been recorded. So, what
Yeah.
else? Anything else that anybody wants to talk about? I want to bring up this political thing just a little bit.
Let's get on it.
Let's get on it.
But I'm gonna do
Let's
my
slap
best
some
to
ass.
just say it and let it go. By the way, before we get there, we're probably
You're gonna pull the pin.
yeah.
Gotta go.
Because you know how well that works. We're going to take a break right now, and then when we come back, then we'll talk about some political stuff, and hopefully we'll get back into the fun stuff before we end the episode. This is the Ian Gleason Show.
Righteous.
All right, welcome back to the Ian Gleason Show. So we were just about to get into a little bit of politics, and we're not going to inundate you with it, because I know that's not what everybody tunes in to hear
Nope.
at this location, but we do bring it up every once in a while, and I guess the first thing I want to say
Hell,
is,
where do you start?
yeah, how batshit crazy is this? You know, I mean, it's just, I can't, you know, I'm with you,
Apparently-
Chubby.
yeah,
Yeah,
apparently that
even,
bad.
even the toddlers think it's hilarious. So,
Which one? The one here or the one in the office?
so a couple of guys get fired, and then another guy gets a job, and a couple of guys quit, and then this guy has a job for 11 days, and he either quits or gets fired. I still don't know what happened in that.
Now,
Dude, he got handed his hat.
It
When-
seemed
Come on,
like
don't even go there.
Yeah.
you know what? Has that ever happened before under any other president?
Probably, but probably
Not
for,
to this extent.
Yeah, probably for
All
different.
right, you see what I'm saying? Okay,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
hasn't been broadcasted. Ever like
No,
Oh,
no, no.
definitely
The
not.
most
There's some
like,
change going on, but over
I'm so
a
far in
4-year
politics,
period.
Yeah.
I even know about that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So evidently, it's kind of like this is a big disturbing topic. It is.
Well, it's kind of, and here's
It's no-brainer.
Yeah, here's why I wanted to bring it up too, is because back in the day, I remember. Well, I don't remember because I wasn't there, but I remember learning about the most successful politician from the state of Maine up until fairly recently, and even then, he achieved the highest office. His name was Hannibal Hamlin, and he was the first vice president of Abraham Lincoln. And then when Abraham Lincoln ran for re-election, he had to find somebody from the South in order to bring things together, so he swapped out his vice presidents. Now, that used to
they
happen.
taught us about him in my American history class.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Mr. Grezzy for teaching us all this American history.
There you go, boom.
That's my
Because you
career.
don't get that in Texas.
Northwood High School.
Yeah, here they teach you 2 weeks of American history and then 8 years of Texas history, which doesn't help you. But
I had world history and American history.
Yeah.
And Louisiana history, which come from everywhere.
Yeah, we did in 4th grade and 7th grade, we did main history, but even then, you still had to do world history and American history all along.
Sure.
Yeah, so...
Well-rounded history.
And it was my junior year that was entirely focused on American history.
We did American history junior year and in high school. We did world history in high school, too. We did American history like around, sophomore, freshman, and then world history was around like your junior year. Because by the time you was a senior, the only main class you have is English 4. Everything else is elective.
Right, yeah. We did world history 1 freshman year, world history 2 sophomore year, and then American history in junior year. So the long answer to your question is yes, stuff like this does happen. We probably didn't hear about it because it's not as broadcast as it is now. But also, I think that a lot of it has never happened for the reasons that they're happening now. I mean, I'm sure there have been guys who have been on the staff of presidents who have been there for under 10 days, I'm sure. But usually that's because, they were caught porking somebody else's wife or, they'd committed a crime or whatever. This guy was just an idiot. He did a New York Times interview, and he comes off as a complete idiot. And the president, and it's pretty sad when the president that we have now, comes to you and says, listen, bro, and I'm sure he didn't use these exact terms, although I hope he did. Listen, bro, you can't be using terms like Steve Bannon, who is the number one strategist for the president, is just there to, S his own D, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, that's literally what he said in the New York Times interview. And so I can see how that poses a bigger problem for the White House than is necessary. But at the same time, they're not helping themselves out either.
No, and actually, you know what? He was good with it, Trump was good with the fact that Scaramucci said what he said. Things went sideways for the mooch when they brought Kelly online, a retired Marine general. Mm-hmm. You don't think this guy is disciplined through and through? And the first thing he said was, "Okay, you potty mouth, take it on the heel and toe."
Yeah. Sorry.
Kick rocks.
And I think the mooch is probably fine with it because now he's like, well, I was there long enough to get enough information to write a book. That's what he's going to do.
That's pretty much all.
And he'll end up with a career. So it's the same with Sean Spicer. Guy's going to write a book.
Dude, who's happy? Nobody is happier than Sean Spicer right now.
I hope he's on a beach in the Bahamas somewhere being like, man, remember that time I was dressed up as the Easter Bunny rolling eggs down the front lawn? I'm glad I ain't there no more.
He's the same guy y'all talking about. Was he on CNN yesterday? Were they talking about him yesterday? He had glasses on. Because me and Bobby...
I didn't watch it yet. I
didn't watch it.
Bobby was telling me about this guy, man. I guess this is the guy you're talking about. Him and Ghostface Killer from Wu-Tang got into a big dispute.
Oh, you're talking about...
what's his name?
Oh, man. I know
that's another story.
It's a talk show host is who it was that got into it with Ghostface Killer. And they were talking about politics. They were talking about the guys that are...
Guy.
Yeah, different guy, but they were talking about this. And it got into an argument, basically.
See, I didn't know about that until Bobby had told me.
Some of these guys, not some of these guys. Everybody knows some level of what's going on. But there are some people out there, like Ghostface Killer is a great example of a guy that you might not think that he's tapped into what's going on politically because of
attention.
Absolutely he does, and he's not an idiot. And by the way, I think that's an indictment on people who think that just because you do what you do for a career that you're an idiot. I know plenty of garbage men and mailmen who know more about politics than I do. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter where you came from or what you do for a living. It's about how much you want to invest in something that you understand it or you don't. It's it doesn't matter who you are. I mean, people who can't read can certainly watch cable and know more about politics than I do.
Yep.
So that's not an indictment on anybody personally. And by the way, I'm not on the big show. I might call people politically ignorant, but that's just a way for me to kick you in the teeth because I'm on a radio show and you're the idiot calling.
And just because you don't know about politics doesn't mean you're dumb.
Don't know about life, exactly.
It's people who I know about politics. I just don't discuss it.
Right.
Like I know about religion.
Right. You just don't bring it up. Yeah. Because it's a hot button issue.
It separates me and who if I talk about religion or politics, it separates whoever I'm around.
Right.
Like people who I like and I love and I hang out with because I'm not Democrat or Republican. I'm a nothing. I'm neither one of them. I just ride the wave. My religion. I mean, I might hang out with a Catholic, a Muslim, and a Baptist person or Pentecostal person. I can't not dislike them just because of their religion.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, I mean,
You're gonna hang out with a Pentecostal, won't be
know
the
about
bar.
it. I respect it.
That much I do know.
I mean, whatever. I mean, I know now. Most of my family is Pentecostal.
Right.
And so I'm not gonna. I can't go against. I just don't dislike nobody because of their religion or their beliefs, man. Because I know we bleed blood the same way. We wash our face and brush our teeth the same way every day.
Sure.
So why we gotta be different?
But to me, it takes a certain group of people, and I know that the people here at this table are that. If you belong to a certain group, but are open enough and understanding enough to the idea that the other group or groups might have great ideas and might be moving in the right direction on something, you accept that and you understand that and you move forward with it. I think politically right now, the people who are still supporting the situation that we're in, and this isn't just me coming from the other side of things, this is just the way I see it. The deeper you dig your heels in, the worse the loss is going to be for you down the road, because if these aren't the earmarks of a loss, then I don't know what is. And as a matter of fact, this guy Chuck Todd, who does the morning show on Sundays on NBC, very politically astute guy, does it's not Face the Nation, it's whatever the NBC version of it is. CBS does Face the Nation. This guy does the NBC version of it. He's interviewed the president. He's interviewed a handful of presidents. And he came right out last week and said, I really hope that there's no outbreak of war or natural disaster or some terrorist attack, because this White House is uniquely unprepared for anything of that magnitude right now. And what's scary about it to me is that North Korea is doing what they do. Russia's, whether you want to call it this or not, all three of us have lived through this, and for those of you who are watching or listening have probably lived through some portion of this. Russia is firing back up the Cold War machine, and if you lived pre-1990, 1991, you know what the world looked like then, and we're headed back in that direction, and to have a White House that's unprepared to handle that is dangerous for the citizens of the country, you know? So,
well, without a doubt.
Yeah, and I'm not asking people who voted for this guy to take loss. I know a lot of people who have voted for the guy who are like, yeah, you know, I wish he'd do a whole lot of other things differently. Like the Twitter thing, first and foremost, has got to go.
I looked at his numbers on the people who actually voted for him. And initially, from when he stepped in until now, he's down 10, 12 points.
Yeah, and that's with his voters.
And that's his core group.
The Quinnipiac, which has been doing polls of presidents since I want to say Nixon, but certainly since Carter. It was, in between Nixon or Carter, so it might have started with Ford for all I know. But they said this is the lowest approval rating this early for any president in history, or the history of the poll, I should say. So to me, there has to be something behind that. I don't think it's accidental, and I certainly don't think they're
his own core
numbers.
Group.
They're fake news.
They don't
listen. Yeah. And it's like
these are the same guys that said Hillary would win.
Yeah, and all he's doing is he's adhering to his own base more and more, and as his base gets smaller, he gets more and more strong arm. And this is why I wanted to bring it up. 2 examples. Number one, the whole non-transgender in the military thing. Now, here's the point that I'm going to make. And this isn't me being bleeding heart liberal dude, although I think if you want to be who you want to be in this country and do what you want to do, I think you should be able to do whatever the hell you want to do. When you go home and close your door, if you're a woman,
your business.
Even though you're a man, that's fine. If you're a man, even though you're a woman, that's fine. That's behind your closed door. I ain't coming to your house for no damn reason.
I tell people all the time, man, staring at my plate, your food gonna get cold.
Yeah,
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? Like staring at my plate, your food is gonna get cold.
Yep.
So you worried about the next man or the next lady or the next
none of my
whatever.
Business.
You forgetting what you got going on. You're not paying attention. You're gonna lose.
I like that saying. I'm gonna tweet that saying today. I
made the post.
That's some dedication right there.
I made the post about 3 weeks ago. I put it on on Facebook, I guess I said it, and everybody was like, okay, that. But I just woke up one. It was one of them nights I probably was full of that Cuervo, and came home, and I probably, in my right mood. I put in. I write a 16 every night. People don't. I still write music, People don't think I do. I'm ready to rap anytime.
Sure.
But I wrote that, and I had put that in my verse. I had said, I think I said it that way, but no, I didn't say it that way. But the way I said it is meaning staring at my plate. Your food's gonna get cold.
Yeah.
Like mind your business.
Mind your own damn business.
Absolutely. And by the way, the circumstances that they brought up were that afternoon shot down by the Washington Post. He said that the expense that it costs to have transgenders in the military is something that we can't afford. We spend 3 times more on Viagra for the military than we do for transgender maintenance. This is according to the Washington Post. What the hell are we buying Viagra for?
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell?
Keep the soldiers up.
Right? And by the way, I'm not complaining about that. But I'm saying if that's going to be your argument, then you're wrong. Number one.
It's just give me Adderall.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Right. I mean, that's what it's cheaper, right?
I guess, yeah, I would think so.
And you don't have to worry about an erection for 4 hours.
Exactly. But number 2, his second point was it distracts what our goals are overseas, what our missions are overseas.
Okay, well,
so here's the question that I have.
Okay.
If you have the utmost faith in the strength of the American military, and you have their back no matter what, and by the way, as Commander-in-Chief, that is your first and primary job, is to have the back of your forces no matter who they are. Mm-hmm. And if something is going wrong, your job is to fix it from the top down. They don't call him the commander-in-chief for nothing. That's a military term.
Right.
So if you don't think they're effective because of the lifestyle that they choose to live, then that means you don't have the back of the military, and therefore, whatever they're doing overseas is pointless.
God bless you.
You're sending them over there to basically accomplish nothing if you don't have their back. Why send them? Why send people to get killed for no reason if you don't have their back? And I'm not saying, in terms of the conflicts that we're in, there's no reason. But if you tell them, I don't want you here because of X, Y, and Z, then you're not covering their back, and therefore it becomes no reason for us to be over there. You either have their back or you don't. And if you don't, you better not send them to die because there's no reason for it.
Okay, well, Go ahead. All right, check this out. And the fact that he did what he did and completely blindsided the military. Pentagon had no idea this fool was going to do this. Mm-hmm. I mean, this came out of nowhere. That's exactly what he was doing. Okay, so here is the deflector in chief, and here's my explanation for the timing of this whole thing. They're starting to squeeze on him a little bit harder on this whole Russia thing. Mm-hmm. So what better way to deflect the views on what's going on than just pull a pin? So he pulled the pin. He pulled the pin through this grenade out there, and all of a sudden now you're not looking at going, oh hey, here comes this Russia thing. Yeah. No, it's all of a sudden it's like, damn, this transgender deflection.
Yeah. And that was
clearly all that was.
Motivation to solidify his base to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, that's all he's doing.
His base stops thinking about Russia. Now they start thinking about this transgender
That's exactly
thing.
what he's doing.
And what happened later that afternoon?
This came out of nowhere.
Later that afternoon, the Pentagon came out and said, until the study that we've been conducting under President Barack Obama is complete, then we will make no changes regardless of what the president says.
That's all that was.
So he accomplished nothing, although he did accomplish, two things. He solidified his base, number one.
And he got deflection. That's all it was.
Right, which solidifies his base. But number 2, he sent the military into a blind panic because he sent these in a series of 3 tweets, and the space between when he said, I'm about to do some shit here, and the space when he said the shit that he was going to do was 9 minutes long. Do you know what the military was the higher-ups in the military was doing in those 9 minutes? Preparing to go to war with North Korea.
Sure.
Because this is how this guy releases information, through Twitter, and he waits 9 minutes. Well, 9 minutes in the world of the military can be a really, really long time. So they start putting people on alert and like, he's about to say something. I don't know what that shit is, but we might be going to war here. So let's start
DEFCON 3.
Let's start turning on buttons and getting planes in the air because we don't know what the fuck's coming out of this.
Warm up the engines.
So there's that thing. And then the newest thing, the most recent thing that has happened, and I understand that when we post this episode, it's going to be a little delayed, so more stupid shit's going to happen between between now and when it's posted. Yeah, exactly.
Distract us with something else.
Yeah, exactly. Now
he's on break for 17 days, so that's.
When is he not? I mean, you see how many times the guy's gone golfing since he's been president?
Newsweek, I love that cover they
He's
did.
still living life of a celebrity.
Yeah, that was good.
I love that one.
The celebrity life. The president mixed together.
But see, here's the thing is
check out 360 Cooper, that little deal.
Cooper?
Yeah, that little deal that he did. He's like, hey, listen, I'm not saying that he can't go on vacation. I said, Dad, they got to get away and all that. I like the hypocrisy bit that they did, and so actually that was another one. They had him over there when he was on the camping trail talking about, this guy's going golfing. I'm like, when I get in the White House, I'm not going on vacation. There's too many deals to make. I'm going to be working. You can't keep that fool in that White House.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't want to be there. He didn't think this was going to happen. He doesn't want to be there. So anyway, the second point I want to bring up.
So 4 years and over with.
I think less than that.
He'll be less than that.
I think he'll be gone.
I think they're gonna let him ride it out. No, I don't think.
I think
he doesn't want to be there.
I think he's in enough trouble now. I think he's going to find a way so it looks like he's doing what's in the best interest for America, and then he can say, I told you I would be here for you. I'm here for you. Because he can't take an L. He's not going to take a loss, no matter what.
No.
He's going to find a political way to get out of this eventually.
No, he'll just sit there and go, you know what? I'm going to step aside of her because it's the best thing for America, and he goes out with a win in his mind.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he's going to do.
He'll do it. It's the same thing Nixon did. Nixon resigned before he was charged because he knew he was going to get charged and he knew he was going to get convicted. So whatever pair of pants he has on, he's going to keep those and walk out the door as opposed to walking out naked from the waist down. Yep. So the second thing he does this week, in order to prove that he is doing what he said he was going to do, because the whole healthcare thing, which is what he ran his entire platform on, has been completely dismantled by his own party. Now, the other thing that he said he was going to do is he's going to build a wall. Congress did allocate $1.6 billion to start building the wall.
Which we are going to pay for.
Yep, and we're going to get 200 yards out of at 1.6 if you're thinking in terms of military contract money.
Yeah.
Sorry, but it's true. Hammer shouldn't cost $430,000, but it does.
Well, that's how that new shiny spy plane gets built without nobody knowing about it.
Exactly. Which makes sense, but it's like, come on, let's call a spade a spade. Just say, here's a project we can't tell you about. Just know we're going to win wars like we have before.
Yeah.
Okay, I buy it. That's fine.
I'm good.
Yeah. So now he comes out this week, or the week that we're recording this podcast, and says that they're going to crack down now on legal immigration. They're going to limit that. Oh, I mean, he said, and there was an epic exchange that happened during a press conference with one of his flunkies. It wasn't the press secretary. It was some other dude. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But he got into it with this guy from CNN. His father was from Cuba.
Oh, was that Miller?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, the balding guy. Looks like he belongs on a sitcom as like the angry landlord or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, it's that guy. So he gets
Bull from Night Court.
Yeah, exactly. So he gets into it with this guy from CNN about how they've announced a plan that they're going to crack down on legal immigration now because we're letting too many people in. And the point that the CNN guy made was, you're going to essentially make English a requirement for people coming from overseas. They have to be able to speak English based on the way that this proposal is written. And this guy went every way to Sunday on this reporter, but never admitted or denied that was the case. And the reporter said, and he just, threw out a term and said, so I guess, because his dad was from Cuba and only spoke Spanish before he got here. He learned English when he got here. So he said, so what you're telling me then is basically you're only going to accept people from the UK and Australia, essentially, is what it looks like.
They already kind of speak English.
Yeah. And the guy stands there and he's like, how dare you think that there are only 2 countries where people speak English? And he's like, but you're missing my point, is that people are immigrating here or emigrating here for a number of different reasons. They're not necessarily just coming here for a higher paying job, although we appreciate them doing that. But they're coming here for, they're fleeing war-torn countries, or their family lives here now and they have nobody to support them in Czechoslovakia or, wherever the fuck it is. He's like, there's
any 15 letters that end in Stan.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, there's so many reasons for people to be coming here, and you're boiling it down to what essentially sounds like, if you can speak English, then we'll let you take the citizenship test, and if you can pass that, then we'll see what you can do for us, and if you can find a job, then we'll consider letting you in. Which
do all these steps.
This is not what this goddamn country was built on, and I'm sorry, but it's not. I mean, my family wouldn't be here if this is how things were back in the day. We were an Ellis Island family. We wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here.
My father, he from Haiti. I mean, come on.
Yeah, see, you wouldn't be here.
I wouldn't be here.
You wouldn't be here.
Yep.
No.
And it's just like, I might, depends on how soon these rules were implemented, but if they were implemented before my great-great-grandfather got here, I wouldn't be here.
This place would be empty.
Yeah. Dude showed up because he was poor as shit in Ireland, and he was like, man, I got to do something because this shit ain't working. I'm going over there, and I'll, paint the stripes on the side of the road if I have to or whatever.
Yeah, push a broom.
And here and this to me is what America is built on. I'm here doing a podcast at a friend's house with equipment that he owns, with another friend who is working on his rap game, his own podcast. Jose has his own podcast. I mean, this when my great-great-grandfather got here, this was not an option. No, me working on a radio show was not an option.
Radio at all.
Yeah, me sitting on my ass talking for a living and being able to pay my bills, not an option. Not an option. I mean, that to me would have sounded comical to that guy. He's like, if you aren't lifting 80-pound ice blocks 19 hours a day, 26 days a week.
You ain't working.
Yeah, exactly. But he did that for me to be where I am. You know what I mean? So I find the hypocrisy of this whole thing absolutely bullshit. And again, I'm not attacking a political party. I want to reiterate that over and over. Cuddy brought it up earlier. I voted for Senator Susan Collins when I lived in Maine. I've gotten to meet Senator Susan Collins on a number of occasions, both in Washington and in Maine, for a couple of things that I was doing, back in the day. And she has always represented the people of Maine well. And she was one of three Republicans who voted no on their last-ditch effort to sink Obamacare because she said, you can't guarantee me that you won't fuck with Planned Parenthood, and I'm not down with that. And you can't guarantee me that you're not going to slash Medicaid in half, which Maine is one of the poorest states in the union. We rely on it. We can't afford it, and I'm voting no. And by the way, for those of you who get all butthurt because a chick said she wouldn't defund funding for Planned Parenthood, the 2 times I had to have sexually transmitted disease tests, and this is going to be way more information than you want, but this is why this issue is close to me.
It's kind of normal for a guy, He's 37 years old.
Yeah, but the cheapest place I could get it done, the closest place that I could get it done was Planned Parenthood. Now, I didn't go in there for an abortion. And by the way, not every Planned Parenthood does abortion, and they're not abortion factories like the far right would make you think. So I went in there to get some testing done, to know that I'm not spreading something around or I'm not picking something up. It was the cheapest, closest place I could find. Walk through the door. Was I the only dude in there? Yeah, because it's called Planned Parenthood. I don't plan anything. I just, throw my stuff around and, hope nothing
and
happens.
hope it don't stick.
Exactly. But at the same time, somebody told me, hey, man, if you're worried about it, you go up to Planned Parenthood, man, you give them $15. They're going to do a blood test and a piss test, 2 weeks.
Done.
And I'm like, what? Planned Parenthood?
Every 6 months.
And I was that ignorant, back in the day. I was like, ain't that a chick abortion place?
No.
And they're like, dude, you don't know shit about it. They do. And so for those reasons.
Any clinic can help you find out if you got something going on.
Exactly. And that's what they do. So I applaud Susan Collins, who is a Republican, for standing up for those principles and saying, this is what I want for my people, or the people of the state of Maine, rather, and hopefully the nation will follow. She did the right thing. So it's not a Republican versus Democrat thing for me.
It never is. It's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do.
Now,
I don't care who's
socially,
in there.
do I lean liberal? Absolutely. And like we talked about earlier, I don't care what you're doing. I mean, I guess in this regard, I'm even more libertarian than anything else. I don't care.
I say the
if you're
same
smoking
thing.
weed, if you're banging hoes, if you're a tranny dude,
That's your business.
Yeah, exactly. If you like to go eat grass in your backyard because you get off
Knock
on
yourself
that,
out.
what the fuck do I care? I'm not going to do it. You can offer it to me, and I'll politely decline.
Yeah.
I'm not going to help you mow your lawn with
Your
my
food
face.
gonna get cold.
Exactly.
Plate, your food is gonna get cold.
Exactly. So that's the end of my political rant. You guys have interjected. Is there anything you want to throw on top of that, or
No,
it is
I'll
what
tell
it
you,
is? You know, it's
yeah, exactly. And the thing is, this White House is woefully ill-equipped to handle anything. I mean, they can't get out of their own way right now.
Yeah.
And that's what the problem is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a monkey house.
And you know what's funny is, what was his name? General Clark. I don't remember his first name. He ran in the primary against McCain. Was it McCain or Romney that ran against Obama the second time? It was McCain.
There's McCain.
Wesley Clark. General Wesley Clark, who was a very well-decorated general, Republican, ran against McCain in the primaries. I would have voted for that guy, but not necessarily against Obama, because I liked Obama after the first time around. I thought he accomplished a lot. I like him. Did I like everything he did? No. I'm not going to like everything any president does. And if I do,
Nobody
there's
does.
something wrong with me, not the president. You
Yeah,
know?
right. Bootlick.
So, yeah, exactly. But Wesley Clark, had he run this past time and had he gotten elected, I would feel much more comfortable with the direction the country is headed, because I felt like he had a good platform, a square head on his shoulders.
Yep.
He was ready to do some stuff. And it's not me versus Trump necessarily, and it's certainly not me versus the Republican Party in general. It's me versus the people who think things are better or are going well. Neither of those are true.
None of those are true.
Not even close.
All right, enough with the guys with the tight asses and three-piece suits. What's up with your fucking football team this year?
Great question.
Niners in the motherfucking house.
I don't even think
Dude,
I
what are
need
you
to
gonna-
answer, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Tom Brady.
You know what's up
By
with
the
my
way,
football
happy
team.
birthday, Tom Brady. He
Yeah.
turned 42 days ago.
Happy birthday, my boyfriend.
I like Tom Brady.
Dude, it's his birthday today?
No, it's Thursday.
Oh, is it?
I thought it
Oh,
was
it's a Thursday.
yesterday.
Shout out to the guys that's 40.
Dude, it's your lover and you don't know?
I think it was
It was
yesterday.
Thursday. It was Thursday.
I mean, you'll have his children if he said so.
I know. Somebody's sneaking in on my dude, apparently.
I work
Apparently,
I
right?
watch ESPN every morning at my
Oh,
job.
there you
I work
go.
behind the bar, you know. So
There you go.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so that's how he knows. Like,
Oh, I
because
don't-
you know I don't care.
I don't have a job, y'all.
So you know where I sit.
Yeah,
I
but
think
yeah,
the Patriots will win the Super
They
Bowl.
say the
this season.
Patriots, the Cowboys, I think it's a fluke.
I think that's BS.
Derek Carr at his best when he's healthy. I think the Raiders going to give the Patriots a run for their money. Even though I like the Patriots, Bill Belichick me if you want to.
Bella, check me if you want.
Check. That's how I feel about it. My team, I know they're not going to be a contender or playoff bound, but they are going to do better than last year under a new coach, Kyle Shanahan, with new quarterbacks and new personnel.
Is that who you guys picked up?
That's what we got. We got the little.
See, I think you guys got more going this season than you have in a while. I think
Well-
the Kaepernick situation is
Well,
unfortunate.
they had a lot of locker room issues. And
Yeah.
Dude, that
top of
was
the house
yeah,
issues
that was
and
that was yeah, that
ownership.
was a head
You got all
case.
that mixed in, man. The morale bad anyway. It's not gonna be good.
No.
It's like there's a lot of tension going on with the podcast. How can we do a good podcast show?
Right.
It's not gonna happen.
But
not gonna
I
happen.
think you guys will be more with it this season than
Yeah,
you
we
were.
will. That's why
And
I-
aren't the Rams in your division?
the Rams, the Arizona
See,
Cardinals.
I think the Rams are going to be a
Me too.
dumpster fire this year,
And-
and not because their
they
organization
thought
is
that
bad,
last year with the Rams.
but they've had so much change in such a short period of time. I don't know how well they acclimate to that.
They don't.
Yeah,
These are the
that-
lambs.
that's what I'm
Christ's
saying,
sake. I mean,
yeah.
they stink on
I'm
ice.
I'm just waiting to see what's gonna happen this year, man, because it's so.
Who else is in your division? Is it Arizona,
it's
Seattle,
the Seahawks, Arizona, and the Rams.
and you guys?
It's so much happened during the draft and off season, and with different coaches leaving and all that. Who knows what's gonna happen? Like
Nobody does. That's why they play the games.
I would like to see. I would like to see. I'm not a Cowboy fan. Everybody know that, but I would love to see Dak Prescott have a great sophomore season because he got that freshman, that lucky card thing, but that sophomore.
That sophomore slump.
Yeah, you know,
and that's for real.
RG3 did it. Kaepernick, he had that 1.5-year season, and all of a sudden he went left. Because once a player gets celebritized, if we don't know how to handle the camera or the action with
See, this is why I like my
life,
kid. He didn't have that slump. I mean,
Who?
my boy.
Oh yeah, but yeah.
He came back the next year. Actually, he was
But
better.
I think it's building. I think it's different when you're building and you're on that train towards getting better. I think the Cowboys were garbage, and then they got real good way too fast. And you're not going to be able to duplicate what you did
can't
last
sustain
year
it.
without focusing on it.
You can ask any Cowboy fan, did they think they were gonna have a 13-3 record that year? Or
No way.
They thought
Well, I think the first thing they'll tell you is,
no.
I thought we were going to win the Super Bowl, because that's what every Cowboy fan always says. But if they're being honest.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I
Yeah.
asked this question to every Cowboy fan that I talk to, because I'm dealing with a lot of Cowboy people.
Sure, of course.
So I asked that question.
It is a
And
territory.
I got to relate it to the fact when Jim Harbaugh came to the 49ers that first year, I did not know the 49ers was going to be playing in the NFC Championship game against the Giants.
Right.
A fumble away on the punt return scuff. Then we could have been in the Super Bowl against the Patriots.
Yeah, the
Who knew,
Patriots.
the Giants beat that year
Yeah.
because Wes Welker.
David Tyree with his
No,
stupid
the
helmet.
first Super Bowl.
That's what I'm talking. That was the first
The
one.
second Super Bowl when the
Second-
Giants beat y'all.
Yeah,
2012.
that was Victor
Well,
Cruz with his stupid 2 feet
And
bullshit.
that was-
it was Wes Welker dropping that wide open pass.
He's
Never
bricks
dropped.
for hands in the playoffs.
Well, it was good.
Screw him.
That year we supposed to play the Patriots that year, but we came back the next year and played Baltimore. Mm-hmm. That's when Kaepernick kind of like. But once you put him on the GQ magazine, you celebritize him. You got all these cameras and questions in his face and ear. It disturbs him and take him away from football life.
See, my boy was focused. We didn't have that problem.
It's like
No,
you
and
gotta
quite
go out
honestly,
and-
I don't. Even
You
if
you don't hear anything
I
about
think
Derek.
I think the
Derek.
only reason that Carr gets his face scrambled in the media is if you guys win the Super Bowl or when they finally land in Vegas. Those will be the stories because, and I hate to say it, but as an AFC guy, the Raiders are completely unnoticed around the circles that
came
I
out of
run in
nowhere.
and in the media. The Raiders can get their shit together and have nobody focus on them whatsoever, and all of a sudden, I guarantee they can walk out and win a Super Bowl. I wouldn't necessarily say right now, but you wouldn't know that they're about to win a
pretty
Super
sure-
Bowl until they do.
People going to be paying attention to the Raiders, Prescott, and Ezekiel Elliott.
Who I think
Just
is
like,
going to be suspended
people
for the
didn't
first
know
4
Kaepernick
games.
can hand that ball off like he's going to give it to the running back, but he can run that way and run like he's a running back.
See, I
They didn't know that about him.
think what's
They
going to
caught on
sink
to
their,
him.
I
He
think,
can't do nothing.
I think their season is sunk because Zeke is suspended the first 4 games.
Well,
I see that coming down the
They got a
road.
good running back, though. They got a.
They have it together, but you know how Jerry is. Whoever they're spending money on is going to be playing the damn
Alfred
game.
Morris is a
that's
starting
exactly
running back
what it
on
is.
any other team.
But if he goes 4 games shy, especially for a running back, now Tom Brady went four games without playing quarterback
Tom
this past
Brady have a
season,
different
but
lineup every game.
he's to me, and I'm not just saying this as a Patriots fan. I don't think you should plug him into any circumstance where you compare him to anybody else. To me, it's what happened in the 4 games he was out, not what happens when he comes back. You know his shit's going to be right when he gets back.
Dude, he's been in the same system forever.
Yeah, he's a different person. He's not only is he built for that system is built around him.
Yeah.
They were placeholding until he came back. And by the way, with placeholders, they went through their 2nd and 3rd round quarterback and still went 3-1 before he got there. The system works.
As long as he's not being touched, he can play another 3 years.
Well, even if
Another 3 years.
because if you see how his gameplay has started to progress now, he's sliding a lot more. He's accepting sacks a lot more because he knows he has the brain and the arm to get himself out of it. So if he goes down and loses, 5 yards, 10 yards, he'll yeah, exactly. He'll get it back. He knows he can get it back.
Sure.
I mean, look at what happened in the last Super Bowl. Down 28-3 in the 3rd quarter. Yeah. And by the way, not at the beginning of the 3rd quarter. There were like 4 minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
People from Atlanta was like, yeah.
Oh yeah, they were already burning couches
Bird
and
and all
yeah,
that. Oh, sure.
exactly.
And
Popping a champagne.
And that's why I think this guy's an anomaly.
Brady said, "Here, hold my beer."
Yeah, watch this. I think with a guy like Zeke and Dak, though, because they're so young, and I think Zeke is going to be he is going to be suspended at least for 2, if not 4. Because his antics off the field are starting to catch up with him. Now he's got this. He hasn't been charged yet, but they're going to find the evidence to charge his ass for this assault. And they might even have it already. You know, cell phones are everywhere now. They only have the CCTV so far. They're trying to find... And, you know, he's in Dallas, so people aren't going to turn that video. Or they've already deleted that shit. They're like, I ain't turning that shit over to the cops. Yeah, I was there. You could see me on the CCTV. I was filming it, but had to make room for nudie pictures of my girlfriend, so I deleted the video. They'll do what they can to cover his ass because that's Dallas. He's not a cowboy until he's broken the law. I mean, that's kind of the way it works.
That guarantees him on the Ring of Honor.
Right, but then you go back to St. Patrick's Day when he's pulling up this bitch's shirt. I'm like, listen, man, even if she asked you to do it, you have to know you can't do that. You cannot do that. That shit is coming back on you, man.
I gotta know her. That's about like
I know, right?
I gotta like really know
Like,
her.
right? What do you mean, like in the biblical sense, or?
I got homegirls.
No, like, well,
I got homegirls who only.
Maybe that.
I got homegirls I don't even look at like that, or I don't even like just F with. I grab their ass every now and then, but I can though because I know them. But if it's somebody who I don't know, or they say I can anyway, I'm still not gonna do it.
And plus, you know, if there's a camera within 100 yards of you, that shit is on you.
Yeah, it will be on.
You know, and I'll give him the credit to say he's a young guy, and this is stupid shit young guys do. This isn't him dragging his fiance down the hallway by her hair. This isn't him, you know, kicking the teeth out of some woman and then throwing her on a pile of guns. Like, all that shit is different. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt to say, this is a young dude who, like, fondling some chick who apparently had no problem with it, and a young dude who got into a bar fight. I've done both of those things before. However, I've never been a gifted athlete who has the contract that he has going into a sophomore season with a potential to go deep in the playoffs. You have to be smarter than that. Or you have to surround yourself with people who are smarter than that to tell you, hey, Zeke, not right now, bro. Not right now, man.
Yeah.
So what do you think about Kaepernick? Who's going to sign Kaepernick? Baltimore, or they just
I think
blackball him, or what?
I think Baltimore's a done deal. I think so.
You think he's going to go there?
I think so. I think so.
I mean, if they have a vote from the city, he'll win because Baltimore is predominantly black, just like DC.
Yeah, and they're very supportive of his you know, nonviolent protest.
I would love to see that happen because Torrey Smith just went back to Baltimore, who played with the 49ers last year. So it might be Flacco might get hurt. Don't want to wish that on you. And he might come in and have a great season. Who knows? But
well, and the funny thing about Flacco is that he's one of those guys. Him and Eli are one of those two quarterbacks who they constantly have a debate about whether they're elite or not. I think they're both great. I think in terms of being elite, it has to be you doing a bunch of awesome shit with nothing around you, and neither one of those guys have done that. And by the way,
and same thing with Matty Ice.
Tom Brady hasn't done that either. I mean, I guess in a regard, I would say that he did because they're tramping out guys on the field that I've never heard of.
Yeah, no
but
shit.
they're either doing some shit because they want to prove to Daddy Tom that they can do it, or they're just that good and we've never heard of them.
I look at it like this. I don't think Wes Welker or Elderman or any of the other receivers, I don't think they'll have a season or a career they have if they play under somebody else.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's the system. It's a system that makes them big.
It's like I feel like whatever they have Kaepernick doing, whatever Jim Harbaugh had Kaepernick doing, they should have stayed doing that.
Yeah.
They got scared. They didn't want to get him hurt. He's 6'5", 240. That's a linebacker.
Yeah.
He just throw the ball.
Yeah. Let him go. He know
how to protect himself.
Sure.
So I feel like
He's
once
a big
they got
kid.
away from their scheme, it kind of made, and money talks, it made, I'm pretty sure, they paid Kaepernick that money and said, hey, we're going to pay this money not to do this.
Right.
What you did last year, because we don't want to waste this money on you getting hurt doing what you did.
Right.
Instead of just let him be poised and let him do his thing, he would have developed some type of, some type of way to win games.
Mm-hmm. But here's
the same way.
Oh, absolutely. But what I think John Harbaugh is different about than Jim Harbaugh is that if Flacco's not having a good game, whether he's elite or not, it doesn't matter. You got to sit your ass down,
I'm pretty sure Jim Harbaugh said, hey, John, his brother, get Kaepernick.
Don't be afraid. Yeah, don't be afraid to play him.
He got an afro. He likes to kneel. But who can? How can you pick against somebody that stand for something? I mean.
Oh, and by the way,
Or in this case, kneel for something.
He stand for something, he kneel for something.
And by the way, he's backed up his standing for something.
And
he's donated millions to charity since this whole thing has gone down.
I love when people ask me what I think about Kaepernick. Do I like Kaepernick? Because I tell them, yes, I represent what he thinks.
Absolutely. I'm the same. I'm the same.
And I ain't going to lie, when there's some 50 or 60-year-old white man or woman who asks me that question, who don't know that I'm from that era,
but
from that environment.
Right.
They asking the right person, but the wrong person at the same time.
Right,
because
right.
I cuddicate them real quick.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna give the answer that they should expect.
Yes man. You thought I was gonna be a yes man and to kind of agree with you? No, dude. I feel where cuz coming from.
Right. And I'll tell you this, as a guy who respects what he did, I think it's no accident that, and this is the one aspect of the media, and I stick up for the media every day because that's where I work, and I'm tired of people saying, it's just the media, fake news, jamming stuff down my throat. No, it's up to you, but to be smart enough to use your goddamn brain and think about it. However,
try doing that for a second.
Sports news / ESPN is entirely different because what's news is who won, who got hurt, who set records. That's the news.
Give me the stats.
The other shit is not news, and this might sound like I'm being butthurt, but if you look at it as it played out, it's true. Once Deflategate was finally settled and Tom Brady said, all right, I'm going to take my 4 games. Let's just get this over with. I want to get on with the season. What happens in game 1? It's not that Jimmy Garoppolo came out and played like Tom Brady and won the first game, even though it was
did too.
Yeah, exactly, Brissett. However, the story was Colin Kaepernick is kneeling down. He's kneeling down. This cost this motherfucker his career up until this point. I mean, he still hasn't been signed with anybody. Nope. Again, we're delaying the release of this podcast. He's better
than at least 60% of the quarterbacks.
Starting quarterbacks.
I just say in the league, period. But
oh yeah, I'd say starting.
You would sign these guys and sign these guys, and you won't sign this guy. It's a reason he's being blackballed. Then they try to see somebody's afro, which. That should be,
and that I would blame on the media because you lost a story in Tom Brady being a cheater. Now you got to go with a story of a guy being un-American. It's the anti-hero in the NFL. That's all it is.
It's just I think it's just how can you be American, man, when you got all these different religions over here?
There is.
You go to a different country, they all got the same religion. We the only you might have a couple of countries that probably have 2 or 3 religions. You come to this country right here, man, it's 10 different religions. So how can you say
there's a freedom that you're guaranteed.
So why are you gonna call me non-American then? I mean, that's the case. A lot of people around here non-American because we all believe something different.
Sure.
This is what I believe in.
Oh yeah,
this is my religion.
I've been accused of being un-American because of the political party I vote for.
How
is that un-American?
I'm not gonna represent a flag.
I'm voting.
I'm not gonna represent the flag of a country that allows people of my kind to get killed and nobody do nothing with it.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, that's a subject for another time because there have been. You
want to talk politics? I got to buy my shelf 10 feet long.
Well, you did bring us to the NFL, and then you brought us back to politics. We do need to address some of what's going on politically about stuff like that. I don't want to say police race shootings. I want to talk about. I want a broader scope than that because there's a lot more going on than that. Like this little bitch, and I'm sorry, but she is.
Scram,
bitch. This little thick eyebrow bitch who convinced her boyfriend, who was obviously mentally ill, to commit suicide, and then she gets 15 months, so she'll get half of that off of good behavior. I don't care how old you are, man. You were an accessory to homicide.
I bet if it was Tanya, Tamika, or Sherry, though, they would have got life.
Oh yeah,
and that's my point. Right. There are a lot of, and by the way, before we end this episode, you brought up a good point, and I wanna throw out a shout out to a couple of other podcasts that I listen to. Undisclosed, which is the originally it started as a kind of comprehensive follow up to Serial, but they've covered more cases of wrongfully convicted individuals. So please go check out Undisclosed. Also, Truth and Justice podcast. The host, Bob Ruff, we're hoping to get him on for an interview. He's a very busy guy, and his podcast has taken off, but I have spoken to him. He also covers wrongfully convicted people. And by the way, he did an entire series on a county that I will not name, but is within very, very short driving distance of where we are, and how racially corrupt they are in conviction levels. So shout out to those podcasts. If you want to hear some stuff like that, go check those out. Also, I listen to a handful of true crime podcasts, so one of these days we're going to get down to talking about podcasts that we listen to, TV shows that we watch. We've done it before, but I like to do it, every 6 months, every year, whatever.
Yeah, kind of dust it off.
Yeah, talk about stuff that we're into now, stuff that might be new, or old stuff that we go back to that we want to turn people on to, because we want to keep those programs going, because basically we like to watch them or listen to them if it's
Absolutely.
a podcast. So
throw them some love.
Exactly. So we're going to leave this one here. I appreciate everybody checking us out. I know that things have been fluky lately with the posting and all of that stuff. There have been more issues than you can possibly imagine. I think we finally at least hit on the vast majority of those that are going to slow the podcast down. So newest episode has been posted recently. Even though I know you're hearing this in a delayed fashion, that holds true. Newest episode has been posted recently. And I want to thank you guys for being here and sticking through the whole circumstances with us, but our numbers haven't gone down, so I appreciate it. If anything, they've gone up.
And let's keep our energy and drive going. Shout
That's
out to
it, man.
Ryder for being the ad-libber, takeover,
Hell
talkover.
yeah,
The Talk
right?
Over podcast.
He's doing it right now. He's playing some kind of dragon or something.
I have
he
no
knows
idea
the show
what he's
about to
doing
end,
down
so he's like, okay, I'm
You know what's funny is, and I've gotten messages from people or posts from people, and they're like, man, that kid just screws up the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. This is, first of all, this is a real-life podcast. And second of all, you're going to be able to look back on this 5 years from now when you're still listening to this podcast, and hopefully it's a TV show and a radio show, but we're always going to have little Chubby there because you're going to have seen this kid grow up before your
absolutely.
eyes. And because I've spent enough time with him
Dude, he's
to
a
know,
mascot.
whether we're here or not here, that he is light years ahead of where he was when I first met. When I first met him, he wasn't walking.
Yeah.
Now he's over here making up stuff like he hurt himself, even though I know he didn't because he tried to chew on my leg. So he's fine. Jose, what's your podcast and where can we find it?
We're still canvassing DFW, but we will be slowly moving into the Dance Teachers Academy. And so what we're doing is focusing on the dance aspect of it, and
Awesome.
Eventually getting paid because we're setting up a program to actually teach dancers how to teach.
Ooh, I like that.
So
The sound
that's
of that.
what
By
we're
the way,
working
for those of you who don't know, Amay, the one and only for Jose, is
Yes.
an expert dancer.
ballroom.
And
Yeah.
she's been on this podcast before and will be again. She is lovely to talk to because
Absolutely.
she knows some stuff.
She
That's
does.
basically all I need is somebody who knows some stuff.
That's all you need.
No, I'm not calling out anybody who's not here today. I'm not excluding non-current company, but I'm just saying when you know some stuff.
We on the same page.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, this is how it's supposed to look.
Exactly.
It's like, we give a shout out. King George TV, shout out to him, man. He makes the
King
video.
George.
Yes, he's helped out with.
The video-
Well, actually, shout out your podcast and then tell them why King George.
All right, well, shout out to the Cut Occasion, the Kickback Podcast. Check me out on YouTube. I need to get on SoundCloud and iTunes, 8-Step Rocky Style. Quickly, for real, but check that out right there. We do video now for the Kickback Podcast. It's not just audio now. And I got a good camera guy, and we got some things going where it makes it look a lot better. And the Ian Gleason show will look the same way because we want to put him in the mix.
Yeah, we want to get the YouTube angle going for us.
I do need iTunes and SoundCloud because people don't. I'm starting to realize when you go to YouTube on people's phone, on their phone, they don't. You hit subscribe, they gotta log in, so they gotta log in on YouTube to have an account.
Yeah.
So
To have all your bases
if
covered
you're
is
not a
going to help.
YouTuber like me, you won't listen to my show. So I gotta have it on some little wave or flat platform where you can listen to it in your car.
Right,
With it work.
right.
Because this one chick in Alabama, she's like, I don't listen to YouTube. I listen to podcasts when I'm in the car driving to work. So put it on SoundCloud or whatever I got to have it on, where she can just audio.
Yeah, if you put it on SoundCloud, it will it'll disseminate to
I know how
Google
goes,
Play and all
I put
that.
an album out on iTunes, and then my album is out on any link you click on.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
and that's another thing that we've talked about. We brought it up on this podcast before about building a network, but
Because
that's
somebody don't get
something.
my video.
We'll have a post show meeting today. Let's just
if you
say
don't get my
about
video
that.
show on YouTube, at least you got the audio part
Right.
on Stitcher, Google, and like I'm starting to see that. I got 3 episodes to give y'all in like a week and a half at one time because of the lacking
Manna from heaven.
Not really be acting,
Starving in the
really
desert. Here you go.
So I mean, we got to get that going on, and I just want to do it. Whatever I said I was gonna do, and I just want to do it.
Yep.
And
that's what we talked about earlier on in the
podcast. As long as you
podcast.
capitalize on your word of mouth, on your word, that's being successful to me. Not money. As long as I accomplish something that I said I was gonna do, that's success.
And I'm with you on that.
It doesn't have to have a dead president with it
Right, exactly.
at all.
They can stay buried where they're at.
But us as Americans, that's how we feel sometimes.
Exactly. So once again, for the Ian Gleason Show, if you want to find us on iTunes, you can obviously find us there, Google Play, Stitcher, obviously SoundCloud, YouTube, for those of you who are seeing it here. And tell your friends. It actually helps us out a lot. And by the way, also, if you've not yet reviewed the Ian Gleason Show, if you're enjoying this show, please go to iTunes and plug in a little review and write some comments if you have the time. It doesn't take much time, but it genuinely helps us move forward, and it gives us better analytics so we know what we need to do better in order to improve the show. So for Jose and Cuddy, I am Ian Gleason, and this is the Ian Gleason Show.
Righteous.